Hey everyone, welcome to the Your Money Life podcast. We're actually at episode 253 of this podcast. So make sure wherever you're listening, you like, subscribe, 5-star rate, and review this pod. We're going to jump into it. This week, we have a lot to talk about. Let's first jump into our market update of the week. We'll be talking about what's going on in the markets. And there's a little bit going on. I think, generally speaking, the markets are having a good past week, a little bit of up over 1% over the past week. And there's not much crazy noise, right? There's a couple things that's going on. There's some changes in appointments for SEC chair and things of that nature, and some earnings calls, but nothing to the liking, nothing crazy besides what's going on really in the cryptocurrency world. I think that's what's a little bit driving the market sentiment is what's going on in the cryptocurrency world. We'll talk about it. Bitcoin did surge over 100,000 a few weeks ago. One of my podcasts was it last week? No, it was 2 weeks ago, I believe. The podcast, was Bitcoin is going to hit 100,000. And again, go back to the tapes, go back through the history, go back through years of this podcast. I think 2022, for like a few months, every podcast was about cryptocurrency. And my position never changed. We don't hold coins for long term that are any meme or trading coins. We hold coins for the long term that we truly believe in, and we believe in the utility, and we believe in the scarcity. I've always talked about Bitcoin, and you guys have seen it. It's on record from years back in this pod, and all those that have listened for many years always talked about Ethereum. And those are the main two that we've, like you said, hold. There's maybe one others or a couple others that you can hold for, you know, speculative purposes. And again, we've always said it's a smaller percentage of assets depending on your risk tolerance, mine being higher than most just because of the ability to be that way. Um, had a much larger percentage of my assets in liquid assets in cryptocurrency. And so go back through the records. If you've missed it, maybe I'll repost them at one point so you can see it. But we've always said that, and that's been the stance. It's to hold long term. For the traders and day traders, I have no um, instruction for you or advice there for you because that's just not what we tend to do. Now, there's people that are going to speculate on other coins. We'll talk about like what happens with the next part of the cycle, which will be the alternative coins and these smaller coins that are going to get a lot of hype because people are going to speculate, gamble, and trade and do things that people do when they're just trying to make quick bucks. But let's look for what's going on. There's really just potential bull market that people see, and we talked about that earlier as well. That we will see a potential bull market through 2023, or excuse me, to 2025, to the end of this year through 2025. And we're seeing that kind of take place potentially now, as we talked about that. We saw that down the pipeline, and there might be corrections or small pullbacks, and that bear, we call them bear traps when it is a bull market. But then you get a day or a couple weeks where the market pulls back and people think, oh wow, here it comes, here's the pullback. But then it rises even higher than before, right? That's a bear trap. It's trapping the bears, the bear shorts, the people that are shorting the market in that trap. So if you think about what's going on, you have jobless claims rose by 9,000, so not crazy. You also saw that, we have trade imbalance. We saw the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, said that the economy is strong. Really, that's one of his notes is that the labor market's better. The downside risk appears to be less in the labor market. So he's saying that there's strength in the labor market. He said there's growth in our economy. Growth is definitely stronger than we thought, and inflation is coming a little higher. So the good news is that we can afford to be a little more cautious as we try to find neutral. So he's pretty much saying growth is definitely stronger than he thought, and meaning that the economy is doing fairly well, and inflation is still a little bit lingering. And so he says we can be cautious on lowering rates. He's pretty much saying we can take our time lowering rates because we have growth, and I think inflation's a little bit stickier, so we can still be cautious on lowering rates. So fund futures trading suggests 78% likelihood that the central bank will trim rates by a quarter at its next meeting. So that's 1/4%. So we'll see there. Let's dive into BTC and what's been going on. It's going to be a heavy crypto talking as far as what's going on because that's probably the main narrative of investing right now. again, we saw, and let's look at the charts. Let's for YouTubers, SP 500 as Spider S&P Trust is showing that again we up over percent over the past 5 days. For the month, it's had a really strong month, 6% gain on the month. On half a year, 13, 14% gain. And year to date, we're almost 30% on the S&P 500. That's incredible gains. Year to date, almost 30% on the S&P 500. Again, you don't typically see these strong gains in the market. It's like being fueled by something supercharged. So it's like it's just benefiting people that are invested and have assets at this point. You're just seeing a lot more growth if you're a stock market invested and you have your assets and growth investments, and especially for our clients that are had that for years, they're coming to me and saying, "Wow, I didn't, they just didn't know that was possible in the sense of holding for longer years, having a correct strategy, seeing growth when you just set it and forget it, and allow your savings and the strategy and the market to take place." They're just seeing that, so that's super super interesting to see. Let's go to the BTC chart. Year to date, up over almost nearly 150% year to date. That's for Bitcoin. As we're talking to now, as we're recording, it's 102,000. So we crossed the 100,000 landmark, which is a big watch mark for people. Again, we said the target might be, we never know. Target upper bound might be 125 for this cycle, right? It's a 4-year cycle. We might see it hit 125,000. If it's crazy mania, you might see 150,000. And then, of course, there's going to be a correction pullback, and everybody's going to forget and think it's crap again. And then there'll be another cycle every 4 years. That's pretty much how we go here. But with this cycle with Bitcoin, let's talk about it now. You'll see Bitcoin first. It's going to make the headlines. It's going to move first. Then it'll correct. Then you'll see Ethereum make the next wave of growth, of performance. You'll see Ethereum be next. And then that will cool off, and then you'll get to the altcoins, the meme coins, the ones that people are trading, trying to get rich from, and doing all that stuff that they have no real utility. It's just for people to try to gamble, trade, and do those things. You'll see that after these two make their run, right? And so, already getting texts from people that are saying, "Oh, what about this coin, this coin?" Sure. Again, we don't trade those, and we don't really think they're speculative. If you want to gamble, sure, that's fine. We're long-term investors. We buy and hold. And sometimes, yes, even if you want to gamble into small coins or to try your luck at speculative coins, be my guest if that's your prerogative, but be prepared to lose whatever you put in, potentially, especially if you're doing it after you hear it being talked about widely on social media or from a friend. You're already done. You're cooked. You're going to put your money in there and you're going to lose it more than likely. So that's just my warning. And that's again only for the meme speculative coins. For the big cryptocurrency we've always talked about, for those assets that we said just buy and hold, still holds true. You could hold these, you could hold these through downturns, you could hold these through different things. Um, we don't know how much higher in this cycle, this 4-year cycle, we'll see. Let's look at an all-time chart. And again, that 4-year cycle remains the same. You see 2017, you have the run, you get to 2021, large run, everyone's going crazy, bear trap here, another large run. And then pull back 2022, 2021. Everyone thinks it's dead. And now we're having our large run again. We might have a little correction, continue to run, and then maybe 2026, or late 2025, you see a pullback and everybody talks about being dead again. So the cycle's there. It's super, super crazy easy blueprint to follow. But again, you'll see that people fall into the same traps that they typically do. You'll see that. So let's read more about what is being said online. So for the first time, Bitcoin, of course, hit over 100,000 for the first time, marking a significant milestone for the world's largest cryptocurrency. The digital asset has set records again and again in recent months, amid hopes that the post-election landscape will provide a more supportive regulatory environment. That's one of the big things that we haven't talked about, is that the regulatory environment is probably going to change now with the new administration. And that's what a lot of this bull run is based on. It's gained around again. We talked about it, 145% so far this year, more than 45% since the election. It has received a boost from the approval of US listed Bitcoin exchange trade funds. That's another thing. Exchange trade funds, ETFs. We buy ETFs for clients from different sectors that track different things. There's now BTC ETFs. There's now BTC ETH, there's now ETH ETFs. That's say that 20 times fast. ETH exchange trade funds, which is it's legitimizing and spurring these cryptocurrencies. So people putting money in those, which makes the price rise. All these different things are fueling this bull run. So It's really, really interesting. Again, people are interested in this, and again, it's still quiet. If you did the search that I told people to do earlier, still quiet. People are still, you know, a lot of people that get hit or hurt in the downturn of the cycles because they only invest when they see it on the news. They're still not in because they lost out and they written it off, right? It's that bias that people have. But we've talked about it for many, many years. It's on record and you've seen it. For our new listeners, which there are a lot of new listeners, and hopefully there's a lot of people that have listened for a long time that understand that. And so that's one thing to really understand and to really keep your eye on. And we'll talk more about it as time comes. Keep it on the crypto theme. We've talked about the actual thing that people see, which is still tricks, scams. There'll be a lot of that in the crypto space because it's less regulated. It's new, it's flashy. People just don't understand it, so they just like want to get rich. They see people thinking they're getting rich. But there was an influencer, Haley Welch. You might know her as some viral chick. But she released a coin, a meme coin, as they call it. Again, meme coins, all these like speculative coins. She released a meme coin called Hawk, and she rug pulled. Rug pulled really means like you promote an investment, you tell people to invest, and as soon as it rises, you pull out all your investment and leave the people with the dropped price after the fact because you've pulled it out. The price is going to drop, of course, because you're selling. Selling pressure makes the price drop, and then you leave all those consumers and regular folks in the coin, and they're left holding the bag of a worthless investment when they invested on the rise up, right? And so she was a viral influencer. She created a coin, a Solana based meme coin. She was riding the popularity of the meme coin boom, and that's because there's going to be a lot of scams like this. She launched the coin, and it became a popular hype Solana coin. It soared, achieving a market cap of 400 million within minutes. So 400 million market cap within minutes. Is that real? A 500% increase from launch price. But people are accusing of manipulation. Some blockchain sleuths and community members point out some suspicious activity around her coin. So they're showing that insiders, meaning the people that created the coin, the people that helped her create the coin, they held 96% of the control of the supply of the coin, which is a lot, right? If you're holding 96% of control of the supply and you're only releasing a little bit, um, you have a lot more incentive to pump up the price and then start to sell or manipulate the price because you hold so much. So you can, get people to buy in. And then as you sell, it's going to really hurt other shareholders, right? Like there's not a lot of people that own like Apple share, for example. Like there's no one that owns probably more than 5 or 10% of Apple. Like as far as, outside investors or just like public market investors, it would be too hard. It would be too easy to manipulate the price. And so that's, an issue with, crypto and these memes coins, not crypto, but these meme coins and these get speculative coins that people get tricked into. So the team, it seems like stole 2 million when they sold after they told everybody to jump in. They sold it. She's trying to deny the allegations. But here's the thing, like a lot of the people that do this, yeah, most of the time the SEC is just like, oh, we'll give you a slap on the wrist fine, like it was like Kim Kardashian or Floyd Mayweather and all these other people. But when you really steal and people make enough noise, you can go to jail. Like you saw, it wasn't the same thing, but Sam Bankman-Fried and some other people, you can go to jail, and a lot of people will get in trouble for this stuff. And they're places that she has had SEC complaints put in against her, I believe. And so she is now potentially in trouble. And another thing, you're supposed to have a holding period. So the thing about these things, when a company goes public, the insiders that own a lot of stake, relatively speaking, they don't have like full control anymore because they've sold it all off. But the part that they do have control of, they have to hold that for a certain amount of period. It's called a lockup period. It's usually not too crazy, 190 days, XYZ. But you're supposed to hold it for a bit so that just let people know that, hey, I'm not just pumping this to you and then selling and getting out right away. With all regulatory environment and these meme coins, you don't have that lockup period. But she's claiming that they did have a lockup period, which I don't know if I believe. But we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes up if she's going to be, called to the carpet for this. But that's the thing with this. If someone is not thinking and they want to, if you want to be speculative, do it with a smaller amount of cash, not with a big amount of cash that leaves you at risk because there's going to be so much scamming going on in the next few months. And you'll see more of those stories. So, on to some heavy news and some sad stories. So, there was a United Healthcare CEO of a certain division, their insurer division, their insurance division. And he was unfortunately gunned down in Times Square area or Midtown, which is near Times Square. And of course, condolences to him, his family. It's always sad things when you see this. And there seems to be a video floating around on X graphic. I don't know if that's the real video, but it seems to be. And I don't know what the reason was for this. Obviously, we don't know who did it, why, any of those things. There's so many questions to be answered. We do know that we just say prayers to his family. So the United Healthcare Group executive was fatally shot in New York. He had no personal security detail. And it seemed to be just a targeted attack in the back, a couple shots. And his wife told NBC that he'd be receiving threats about, claims that, weren't helped or upheld by claims that put in by consumers or people that need healthcare. And they apparently had been receiving threats and he was gunned down. The Department of Chief Executive said in press conference that he did not have a security detail, which, people are like making that be a big deal, but it makes sense. Like if you're receiving threats, I think, yes, you should have security details, especially when you can afford it and all these different things. Um, but yeah, obviously you don't see very many executives and they're all like most of them in New York probably don't see them have that because not a lot of people know who they are, right? You see a lot of people walking around New York, you don't know, really who they are. But again, this is a story that's going to be well covered and well watched. It was a shocking news to hear yesterday, and we'll be praying for his family. In more news, we just saw that Taylor Swift topped spot. She had the top spot on Spotify. She is the singers of Spotify's global top artist for the second year. That's crazy. 2 years in a row, global top artist. The streamer revealed, Spotify revealed this Wednesday as it dropped its 2024 Wrapped reports. I need to see my 2024 Wrapped music. I'm actually curious on what it is. I did get the 2024 Creators podcast one, which was really good. We increased viewers, increased listeners, increased countries, increased everything. So that's really, really good to know. And I appreciate you all for listening. Spotify has now added some AI features to the Wrapped experience this year, including personalized podcasts about individual users' listening habits. Oh, okay. I love that. So we actually saw my wife actually was able to use the Notebook LLM tool. You can put in any any deck, PowerPoint, or any of those sort of things into this tool. It creates a podcast for you to listen to. It's really incredible. We put the New Sheet Advisors Group brochure into this, and we got a 20-minute podcast about what we do. I was going to post that one of these times for people to hear it because these AI tools are incredible. If you're not using or have some of them up and using it to be your assistants, using it to do some menial tasks for you, you're probably wasting some of your time because there's some great legwork it does. You maybe tweak a few things, but you're teaching it. You're teaching the language model to learn how you want some things done. Super impressive and saves a lot of time. But yeah, that Notebook LLM tool that my wife put me onto was incredible. But this one for Spotify seems to again be personalizing your a personalized podcast about your habits, which is pretty cool. And it's part of a partnership with Google. Oh, fair enough. That must be the Notebook LLM tool. Meanwhile, Apple and Amazon Music have also rolled out most played lists. So everyone check out yours. I wonder what your music is. Spot. Hopefully, Your Money Lay Life is at the top of your list for podcast listens. Let me know what yours is. I'm very curious to know. I didn't even know what this list entails, but I saw 25 big ideas that will shape 2025. So as a group, as a family, as Your Money Your Life listeners, we're gonna go through them. There's always some cool stuff as the year ends. 2024 lists and of the 2024 drawing to a close. There is now lists and things and reflections, and we're gonna do a reflection in the round table. But let's look at this. 2024 draws to a close. Here is the 25 big ideas. Okay, so I have to do another click to find out these big ideas. 2025 big ideas. We'll go through it. I'll say if it's valid, not valid, if I believe in it, and don't believe in it. So the 25 big ideas. One, AI will pave the way to a shorter work week. Okay, I think AI will pave the way. I don't know if it's going to pave the way to a shorter work week. So I do believe It'll pave the way. Shorter work week, I don't know. Like I like working. Like, we'll see though. But it could possibly, like I think it's making things, like I just said, it's making things a lot easier, faster, more efficient. And that's like really what now the tool is. It makes things easier, faster, more efficient. Millennial CEOs will usher in a new era of leadership. Okay. Um, interesting. I'm trying to think. I think so, maybe. I'm trying to think if, I mean, the boomers aren't letting go so long, so fast. I think it's not so quick to say that they're going to let go of what running large companies. I don't know. I don't think I would say that they're going to usher in a new era of leadership just yet. Boomers aren't going away. Listen, your boomers, they ain't leaving. They don't want their spots gone. I don't know if I believe that. Corporate employees will emerge as the next wave of influencers. Uh, I mean, corporate employees will emerge as the next wave of influencers. I don't believe that. There's too many rules. Too many rules. I don't think so. Number four, a new type of intern will be joining the team. Okay. I don't know what this exactly means. I'm trying to read through it. I don't know. I don't know if I believe that one. We'll skip that one. All investment roads will lead to the US once again. Okay. Yeah, I think so. I do think that the US will firmly cement its role as a leading destination for foreign investments and capital expenditure. I do think that. I see growth here. 100%. Face-to-face banking will get an upgrade. Bank customer, it needs an upgrade. Like it really does. I don't think it will just because this companies are just printing cash, doing what they've been doing. But I don't think so. Hospitals will create new revenue streams. That I do believe. With AI, with different things going on, I think hospitals will have to and will create new revenue streams. Remote surgery will help improve access to healthcare. Potentially, I haven't seen much about this remote surgery, but I think this it could be an interesting thing happening going forward. Construction rollouts will help fix the U.S. housing crisis. I do see that. Cheaper, faster, more efficient to build homes with robots. You see the Tesla AI robot starting to make waves. It will be sold for roughly $60,000 with the car as well, with one of the car models. That's not expensive, like 60K for both of those incredible tools. So you probably will see that. Climate innovations, you'll be able to see, touch, and taste. Interesting. I don't believe that, but I don't know much about it. So we went through 10, and there was some hit or misses there, and we'll see. We'll double back with this in 2025, 2026 to see if we agree with it. Not so sure how much I agree with it so far. Last update story, there was a Florida woman who led a nearly $200 million Ponzi scheme, sentenced to 20 years in prison. So we're talking about schemes because, again, I'm trying to prepare folks for what's going to happen next. You should have already been buying, long-term investing, doing the things that we do for all our clients. And then, when the mania and hype happens again, you're going to see more schemes and more scams pull up. A Florida woman, she was pled guilty in a Ponzi scheme. She raked in nearly 200 million, was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Joanna Garcia, she received the maximum possible sentence for one count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and mail fraud. She's investors in MJ Capital. She had people invest in MJ Capital. Then she accused Wells Fargo of aiding the fraud scheme by failing to follow its anti-money laundering school rules. So she sued Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo's, all right, guess what? We're gonna get you. Now, I don't know if they're the ones that got her. I'm sure the feds were already on her, but she had a scheme where she solicited investors to invest in a business. It purported the business of providing, they purported the business, MJ Capital purported or claimed that they could provide short term, high cost loans called merchant cash advances or MCAs. Again, I talked about this in, several podcasts ago when I said I think I found a scam. Similar setup here, like in that scam that I think I uncovered, potentially. And hopefully people file what they necessarily need to file the complaints. But they were saying, hey, give us money and we'll get you a loan of 10x what you gave us. And so they're having people like even take out credit cards and take out personal loans to get a loan. Like that doesn't make any sense. You would take out a loan to get another loan to get a that would give you X amount of dollars. It was just uh, yeah, such a fraud. But she and her co-conspirators made false statements, which is all these things are. They're false statements and fraudulent representations, which again, fraudulent. If someone's telling you they can give you $1 million, you'll make a bunch of money. it's always going to be false statements and fraudulent representation. Like it's so simple, folks. It's really, really simple. You gotta understand that. Um, and she did this to investors about the nature of their investments and how the money would be used. Investors were told that the money would fund the cash advance and that the returns on their investments would be paid from the profits of the MCA business. Garcia and her co-conspirators falsely promised significant returns at an annual rate of 120%. There's no investment you can make with someone that's going to give you 120% return annually. Like that's that. Come on, that you already know it's false. But a company made few loans and failed to earn anywhere near the profits it needed to pay the investors the promised returns. As a result, Garcia paid investors by running a large Ponzi scheme. So once they can't deliver the promised returns, they start soliciting other people to invest and then to pay back the original investors with the new people's money. It's just a matter of time till that runs out because you're not going to always get more people to invest in these schemes, of course. It started in October 2020 and August 2021. Investors lost nearly 90 million. She is stupidly, she must have been really full of herself. She filed a lawsuit against Wells Fargo for aiding the scheme by failing to allow its money laundering. Okay. Garcia's partner, Pavel, was charged in August 2020 and pled guilty in 2023. So again, as a fiduciary, I try to warn people, and I'm not the guy that's always waving, but I do try to warn people. I know people are still going to make mistakes and do the things that they make mistakes, but you try to warn them, and hopefully they stay away from that. But it's always out there. Folks, we're not going to do a question of the week. The roundtable, I'm just reflecting. It's been a fun 2024. We're hitting milestones in New Street Advisors Group and New Street Sports, signing two incredible players that we're excited to represent for the NFL draft, and potentially more players that will sign this for the NFL draft. But New Street Advisors Group also hitting incredible milestones that were, only a dream and a whisper many years ago. But if you think about it, you know, I just was thinking about like the confidence and belief in yourself that you must have to do great things. And thinking about, I would tell people the things that I wanted to do and not friends per se, but more people that I knew, especially when I was single, people that I was dating. They just would laugh or didn't believe it. And it's just funny now to sit here and think about all the things that we've accomplished that was seemingly unbelievable to a lot of people. But it is very, very believable. But folks, stay tapped in. You got another 2025 is coming up, and we got another year to even grow and learn and hit goals that many people thought impossible. But stay tapped in. Stay tapped in with New Street Advisors Group, New Street Sports Agency. We do this every week. Make sure to listen. We'll talk to you soon.